Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame. I already forget what number it is, but it's number 161. Is Hypocrisy the New Gold Standard? Where we're going to be looking at a video from a new content creator, at least new to us, a new content creator named
Drama Kween isn't new, is he? Did she?
Yeah, no.
Kween?
There's no. Queer Kiwi is one that we've responded to. She had the rainbow hair. This one is Drama Kween with a K, Kween. But they're all like Australian or Kiwi or New Zealanders or something. So I don't know what's going on in the Upside Down, but you guys got to do something about your feminists because it's spreading. I don't know if they got like the genus of Valentine Ford, like or Clementine Ford, that is.
They're popping them out of a factory.
Or something. But they are definitely cranking out the cringe over there in Australia / New Zealand. Once the home of the hobbits, now the home of the Urukai, apparently. So anyway, was this a request or did you just
Yes, this was indeed a request, so I figured we could take a look at it. I'm just trying to. So yeah, it is a request by the ineffable Richard Beer.
Is it like his life's mission to find the absolute worst people for us to respond to? They're just you got to top this one now with somebody even more cringe than Bryony Claire and Manifestel and
on the scale. Well, these are the bedroom feminists all grown up.
Yeah. Or not. Maybe they're just older and larger, but they're still children.
Yeah, inside. But on a scale from Shira to Byrony, where is actually I don't know if that scale's very large. Well, I mean it's quite large, but it's not.
Shira to Bryony, well, they're different in terms of like they're a bit different. I mean, I don't know if you can measure it, but this person, Drama Kween, she's kind of like in the Bryony ballpark more than the
Shira,
the
Manifestels and the Shiras of the world.
Yeah, not so much in the dating strategies. At least I guess those women are looking for men. This woman is not. I don't know what she's in. She has a partner. She says she has a partner, which is I don't know what that means, but I don't know who could be around somebody like this. Like this is like an incredibly insufferable human being. So
all right, well, nearly. She's getting in on over 750,000 subscribers.
Yeah, so she's getting up on 1 million subs. Very successful. Tells you something about either the algorithm or women in general. Maybe both.
Who knows? All right, let's. So do you have some good juicy bits for us to?
Yeah.
All right.
So there's two videos. The first one we're going to look at is called Men No Means No. And I want you to look at the person making the video as you consider her message and try not to laugh. But anyway, okay, let's let me see. I just want to find the first time code. I'll play a bit of the beginning and then I'll jump to the first time code just so we can set the stage.
Set the stare.
Hey, baby girl. Do you sleep in the nude? Can you go away, please? Why? I'm asking a really creepy question that I expect you to answer in fear of me doing something violent because I didn't get my own way. And I'm asking you to go away because people always say, well, why didn't you say no? Why didn't you tell him to go away? So go away because you're making me uncomfortable.
Okay, wait a second. I've already got questions. The questions are multiplying. Like question rabbits. But the biggest one is this. If she fears for her life or whatever violent thing that he's going to do, then why would you use that and then immediately say no like that and then also be insulting? I suppose this is like what's going on in her head or something.
These are the men who harass her in her in her super ego or something. Yes.
So basically, she doesn't find her male self attractive or something. I flummoxed you.
No, I just don't know how to answer that. Like she's obviously like okay. If you confronted her on this and say, "Hey, this introduction, the way that you're introducing this topic is absolutely terrible because you're completely misrepresenting every man on earth by, just the presentation of this man. This is no man that exists or very few men that exist." And she'll just say, "It's just satire, bro. Get a sense of humor." So you just kind of have to like understand that this is intended to be incomprehensible because you can't make arguments against it because they get to say it's just satire, bro. And now you look like the asshole that overanalyzed and overthought it. But all I will say is what?
No, that's the sort of the thing you sort of hit on. Like, yeah, there's creepy, asshole-ish behavior from both sexes. I mean, the feminists will say, but only men are the ones who kill women for saying no. I have plenty of news stories in which women have done things like hacked off limbs, stabbed men, shot men, killed them for saying no. So it's not just
even though that's happened, have you ever just feared women just like being around in public?
No, not for myself.
But I haven't. I mean, like,
yeah, well, not in that way, but I do sometimes fear men around women, like men I care about around women in general, because I know what women can do and do it with impunity, and essentially you become the bad guy. They are the villain, but you become the bad guy.
Sure.
Somehow. And so, yeah, I mean, sort of. I mean, it's also situational. I don't really fear women unless they start, or fear women in that way unless they start to behave in that way. If it makes any sense. Like being able to conveniently forget stuff, have delusions about things that have happened, stuff like it's when the woman starts to become like an unstable gravitational body that I start to fear. Generally, just women, no.
Yeah, it's usually responding to behavior or maybe like red flags in the personality. But in general, like she's talking about any man, essentially she's going to, I'm going to get into the time codes, anytime a man approaches a woman anywhere. Like, this is not to say that basically you would have to think that, men are just dangerous. And she even says this in one of the other, I don't remember if it's this one or the other video. But we should probably get into that when we do. Do you want to do some things first, though? Because we didn't.
Oh yeah, you're right. I completely forgot. We need to do the things. Okay, so if you would like to send us a message throughout the show, the very best ways to do so is feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. You get to send your message not through YouTube's message thresher, and we get whatever funds you send, except for the payment process for fees, but that doesn't include the YouTube fees, which are incredible. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a message and a tip. And if you'd like to support the show, feedthebadger.com/support. And if you'd like to join our community, see our references, suggest show topics, take part in chats and and other stuff, sharing memes, you can do so at feedthebadger.com. Well, sorry, this one's different. BadgerNation.online. So go to Badger Nation. It is a Discord, so you have to sort of be okay with Discord. And then if you want to subscribe to feed this little beast, go to feedthebadger.com/subscribe. And this should all be in the low bar as well, I believe. Correct? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yeah. That. Okay. Yeah. It's all in the low bar for your convenience. All right. Let's. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. I've discovered that my cat has the power of destroying USB cords. I don't know how she does it. She has some kind of force field of chaos, and it directs some kind of current into the USB, and then because she managed to explode my USB connecting my headphones last night. I have no clue how she did it. But anyway, she's near the USB for the camera, so there may be
She's a habitual line stepper. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the time code. Well, I'll play some more of this intro.
I'm just gonna act like I can't hear what she's saying because I don't see females as respectable people. And no, I'm not gay. Females serve the men. So whatever we ask, y'all deliver. Hey, excuse me, this man will not leave me alone.
These are men that exist. Don't you know, Allison? I see them all the time. Sometimes I am that guy. I mean, I love it when like feminists literally put on costumes of men that they imagine and then play those men out and then record themselves doing it and then put it on the internet and expect that everybody will see that and say, yes, that's totally a real thing that happens.
You know, it's like
and her audience of 776,000 people apparently do think that this is a thing that happens.
Of course. Yeah, well, I have no excuses for my sex that this content is so beloved. But yeah, this is absolute bullshit. It is exactly the same as maybe a white person in the 1920s putting on blackface and doing a samba routine. Like, this is sickening. And she is just describing her attitude towards men. And she basically does to men the equivalent of a bunch of racist stereotypes.
Yep.
And yeah, sure, there might be
she does a minstrel show of men.
Yeah, she does a minstrel show of men. There might be one dude in the universe who's like this. I can't imagine it. I mean, I sometimes got approached when I was younger, like once a year, and don't go near that cord. No, sorry, my little friend, you are dangerous to cords. Cord says no, respect it. But you know, not like this, like maybe a whistle or hey. And well, I'm not bragging. Like I rarely got approached. That's the other thing. I'm like, wow, she must be really freaking hot to be approached by incredibly aggressive strangers like this.
Yeah, I have a feeling she doesn't get approached that much. She probably scares everybody away with her personality. But all right, let's play some more.
Alone and what? I wasn't even doing anything. You're such an ugly bitch. Why would I even talk to you? You're an annoying little Ew! I didn't even want to talk to you anyways.
This is like therapy.
Really hot on the heels of that one video that June Shoeonhead did. Okay, I apologize. I'm gonna have to pacify the creature with some treats. I can hear what's going on, but I'm gonna have to step away for a moment because we're under cat attack.
Yeah, I can't tell if she's an Aussie or a Kiwi. So, or if there's another part of that part of the world, the upside down, where people talk like this. But she's either Australian or New Zealander. All right, but anyway, I'll play some more while Allison is doing that.
I'm getting clearly upset because I was rejected and my ego cannot handle being told no.
So that's the narrative. Men's egos can't handle rejection. Because, you know, this person obviously is constantly swatting men off of her. Okay, but let me jump to the first time code. So, here we go.
The girls only table.
So she goes, okay, it's a clip that she's using TikTok videos, which again, we don't know the context of, but it doesn't really matter. She uses that as her source for the argument she's going to make that men have a bad habit of simply approaching women randomly in public spaces and like aggressing on them and imposing themselves, and they're scary because if a woman rejects them, they might just murder them or rape them or something, which of course we know happens so often that we need a person who looks like this to make a YouTube video about it.
Piece of shit who is so insecure about the word no.
The girls only table. Yeah, I'm asking you to leave. I'm respectfully asking you to go to another table. There are plenty of tables. Like there's that one over there that you guys can go to.
So this is like a restaurant they're eating at. Again, I don't know where this is, but apparently the tables are a little bit like picnic tables. So it's not like you get assigned a table. You just sit at a table. The idea is that it encourages socialization. It's a bar. I don't know, like a lot of times people go to bars and pubs to socialize. And these women, and again, this is completely, we don't even have the context of this. For all we know, they came there together and they're just making this video as a prank to put online, or these guys left right after the video was made, or whatever. You know, maybe they were supposed to be at this table and these women are taking it. It could be anything. We don't really know. And the subtitle says, how many times do you have to say no to a man? So that's the conversation starter right there. But
it's profoundly awkward, but like you said, we don't know the context. Were they directed there by wait staff because they were expected like a rush and everybody's going to crowd into the tables? Because sometimes that happens too. You just get assigned a table and you're told to sit there when you're in these kinds of circumstances. Or did they genuinely just... Well,
again, I mean, it looks like anybody could just sit anywhere. Like the tables are pretty big, right? So like one of the things that could be going on, and we don't know because like I don't take anything at face value, especially if it's on TikTok, because who knows, it could be all about engagement farming, right? But the point is not whether or not this is like real, because Drama Queen is using it to make a point. So we can't really argue the validity of her video because we don't know it any more than she does. But what we have to do is argue against her argument. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that there are places where you can go to eat where the point of it is to foster, the point of the establishment is to foster communication and like socialization. So they'll make like big table. Like I went to a place a long time ago that sold Ethiopian food, or it was billed as Ethiopian food. And it was basically like a gigantic circular table that was on like a turntable, like it spun, and you would grab the food with the bread and you were sharing with total strangers. And the point of it was to where you would get to know people while you were there. Now that may be a little bit more of an extreme example, but this could be that. I don't know. And the thing is, this woman, despite having such a problem with these guys sitting there, doesn't seem to have a problem with her purse being within this guy's reach. Do you see that? So that may, like, again, that's a bit sketch to me that we're supposed to find her to be a victim. But let me go back and play it again from the beginning.
Like there's that one over there that you guys can go to. Because I'm not. Go away. Go. Begging on my knees. Go. It's just like it's our table. It's just weird for you to just sit down with us.
It is really scary.
What did he say?
I don't know what he said. I don't know. I couldn't really hear it. I'll go back a little bit. You can try to hear it.
On my knees. Go. It's just like it's our table. It's just weird for you to just sit down with us.
It is really scary.
I think he said please something, but I didn't catch it. But the point is that no, I don't think it was that. I think it was like please let me something, but I didn't really catch the rest of it.
Okay. Honestly, if I were those guys, I would have just gotten up and left.
Well, they probably did, but it doesn't matter. They went viral. Doesn't matter.
Well, but the other thing is that this happens to men too. Right? This is not something that just happens to women, and it's being presented as something that just happens to women.
Yeah, but could a man record it and put it online and get a bazillion views and all kinds of sympathy?
Probably not.
No, of course not. No, nobody would give a shit. And he probably wouldn't even want to bother. He would probably see it as, kind of like weakness or crying anyway. So he probably wouldn't even put up a video like that.
Yeah. I mean, and if they left, what's the big deal? An awkward 10-second interaction. There was no actual threat. What do you think they're going to do? Grab a machete and start beheading them?
Well, let's listen to some more because there's more to this. So.
Scary to watch two grown men not listen to the words of leave, go away, you're making us uncomfortable. Which in fact,
they were in the process
of
leaving, weren't they? At the end,
we don't know. It was a short clip. They didn't show the end of it. She didn't, at least. So we don't know what happened. They probably just left.
Yeah.
But that didn't matter because they needed to edit the video so that it doesn't look like they were planning to leave, put their little caption on there, and then post it online so that people like this could react to it and use it to make a blanket statement about men everywhere. That was the point. So it doesn't really matter what those guys did.
Wait, here's the other thing. Like you all of the table, it was like a long table, right? And I've been
it was like a picnic
that,
table.
and often in those places you get seated. And maybe he was trying to say, "Hey, we were told to go here," because they're trying to pack you in. Because they know they're going to get more in. I don't know. Maybe it was a situation where they just chose to sit there. Who knows? But it's just like you said, there's no context. So how can you tell? We need to find the actual video. Can anybody find the actual video of this? No.
I mean, like there's no tag or like @ on there, so I don't know who put the video up. So
care what anybody says, and it may sound really antisocial, or I'm just closing myself off to potential relationships and friendship. If
she doesn't strike me as somebody who's antisocial.
Oh, I just found it.
Don't want to judge a book by its cover. You found it?
Yeah, I think so. It's on Facebook, so I would have to give it to you because Facebook, I hate Facebook with the passion of 1,000 suns. So maybe you can access it there.
All right, well,
let's take a look at the original. I mean, the original from the perspective of the women, anyway.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Is this long? It's 24 seconds.
No,
all right, hold on.
It's probably the same.
It's 24 seconds long.
Okay.
There are plenty of tables. Like there's that one over there that you guys can go to. It's just weird for you to just sit down with us. Like, go to the table where there's no people right there.
They are refusing to leave.
That's good. We are both in relationships, and I'd love if you'd leave. Go away, please. I guess we'll go then. You want our table? We'll go. Go. Leave.
Okay. Yeah.
There were foreign guys. I know that.
Oh, there were foreign guys.
Yeah, they had like accents, so they sounded foreign.
Yeah, it might have been Eastern European. Okay, don't do that. Like first of all, like if you're a woman or a man, don't do that. Just leave. But it
was edited in the middle. I don't know if you saw that. So there was a jump cut. So we don't. Again, there could have been more, but I don't know. Maybe like. We could get into the fucking CSI of this video, but I don't think it's important. I think that what's important is what she says. The message is what we should be like looking at, not the video. Because if we completely debunked the whole video, it wouldn't matter because her message is still out there. Her message about it wouldn't change.
Yeah, that's true.
There are two men who feel so comfortable to come and sit down at my table when I'm minding my business. I sure as am asking them to leave and go away too. Oh, but you don't understand, Drama Queen. Not all men are like that.
Yeah,
How
not
am I
all men
supposed to gauge that?
Yeah, well, usually the men won't sit at your table. Like seriously. Not all men are going to sit at your table.
Right? Well, most men are not going to want to sit at your table.
Like the vast majority of men have no interest in sitting at your table.
Yeah.
These were just two foreign guys who went and sat at a table, and they probably didn't understand how allergic Westerners are to other human beings.
Yeah.
Like they thought they'd just, come up, sit down, have a chat, and then like it was just probably just stunning, just like that was to everybody listening on headphones. They didn't expect it, and they were just stunned. It's just like, what do I do now? Do I call the SPCA to pick up the Wildcats? Like it could have been that. It's just. It's a culture, like Brian said, he heard a foreign accent, probably a cultural mismatch. They were expecting a little bit more sociality, and they got aggression, and maybe it looked like they were just sort of stunned. And I mean, again, if you are foreign and you go into the West, you have to understand that Western people absolutely loathe other human beings and do not want to be looked at or spoken to.
Western women do.
Yeah, Western women.
Don't have, I walk around, well, actually, I'll put it another way. People from the urban monoculture, the city people that are female, they don't want to talk to anybody. I walk around Virginia, everywhere I go, everybody says hello. Everybody. Like, I was a little bit taken aback when I first got here as to how polite and nice people are. So I think that these people don't like talking to people, but then they should be avoided because they're going to die alone. So anyway.
Yeah.
More, let's
sure.
something to say. Okay.
When these men won't even leave the table after I've just asked them to.
Go to the table where there's no people right there. You see that? Guys, there's no one over there. You should go sit there. I think you should go sit there. Look, it's crying. It has no people at its table. You guys need to go over there.
And you know what frustrates me in situations
I actually think at
like
that point
this?
they were just enjoying the show.
Yeah, they were probably being entertained by this reaction. Like, why didn't, okay, look, if these women were really bothered by it, why didn't they call a waiter or somebody who worked there to do something about it? You know, but they didn't because they needed to make content. They were making content.
Yeah. And
I mean,
again,
like, am I wrong? Like, if you're in the chat and do you think I'm wrong? Like, why, if you really are afraid for your life because some strange people are sitting at your table and your first thought is, let me get my phone out and record it instead of let me call security, then maybe you're not actually in that much danger.
Yeah. Okay, right. So let's move on. I mean, I noticed that she's really thin on the examples in this.
Yeah, there isn't much. I got like 3 time codes out of each.
This is like video. You see way more women putting their like Lululemon yoga pants on and shoving their asses in men's faces, and the men are just like, yeah, just like trying not to look. Yeah. And then they keep shoving their ass cheeks into the men's.
Yeah, and then they're making content though. Look at these creeps staring at me.
Imagine like
I'm not here to put on a show for you. That's not what I'm doing. Why are you looking?
You just imagine all these like female YouTube fitness influencers and just just hurting one of these poor dudes into a corner, like just a horde of them sticking their asses at him and just like, don't look, how dare you, harassment, and so you get dozens of those. And then you found one where a pair of apparently men from another culture didn't get the memo about the antisocial nature of the West, sat down with these women maybe to say hi. And the women made a gigantic show. And at one point, it looks like they just sat back and watched in bemusement. And that's one video. One.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next.
You as a woman have already asked them to shoo, go away, leave. You are weird for sitting here at this table with us. But they won't leave. They won't go away. They're treating it as if it's funny and that it's just flirting, when in reality, they're not listening to what is funny. Being said.
Mm-hmm.
Like at this point, like it's just like, what can you do but be amused by the severity of the reaction?
Yep.
Them at all, because how could these women tell them to go away? They're such a prize and they don't even realize it. I mean, James, if we wear them down enough, they're gonna say yes and they're gonna come home with us. Am I right, James? Like, you disgusting cretinous gremlin beings, I should spit on you.
I'm pretty sure it ended there, bitch. I'm pretty sure it ended there. I'm pretty sure they got up and left. Otherwise, we would be witnessing like the longer. I mean, they show what fulfills their narrative, and then they cut it off. If the men were continued to harass these women, we would have seen it. So guaranteed, what happened after the camera stopped rolling was them. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Right. So it was what a like a minute interaction which probably ended with the men leaving. And again, if the women were so worried about it, that was a bar. Call the bouncer over. Call a waiter over to get the bouncer or our bartender. And they wouldn't be there for very long. Let's just put it that way.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to move on to the next. Well, actually, the next one is right after this one. Okay. So let's do this one.
Because there'd be an ounce of pleasure from that, and I wouldn't want y'all to have that whatsoever. So instead of being blunt and mean and getting straight to the point, this woman here is resorting to laughing and trying to make jokes out of anxiety and nervousness because they're not leaving. They're not going away. And of course, some idiots in the comments are like, well, you completely ruined it whenever you started laughing. Like, obviously, they're not going to leave after that. They think that you're thinking this is all funny. Why is it all...
Why were they laughing?
What?
Why were they laughing?
Look, so Drama Queen can read minds, Allison. She's a telepath on the level beyond Professor X. And she went into these women's heads and determined they weren't laughing because the situation was funny or anything innocent. They were laughing because they were terrified, and it was a nervous laughter, kind of like how chimpanzees will grin and you think they're happy, but it's actually fight or flight response. And because Drama Queen is a telepath, she knows this for sure, and how dare you question that? That's what it is.
Okay, well, but they were laughing. The guys were laughing. Who the hell knows? Maybe this was all just a skit.
It's the internet.
These were the boyfriends. Who the hell knows? To go and make it
Could
go
have been
viral.
AI for all we know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think we spent a little bit. Like, this is one instance in the world.
I know.
Even if it's 100% true, this is like a woman once or two women having a 45-second moment of discomfort.
All right. So what?
What does this prove?
Well, she's getting to it now. This is the next time clip, but I got a super chat. I'm gonna read really quick. Alex W gave us $5 and said, "Gotta head out, but I will check this out later on new tech platform." Super chat for the algo. Thank you, Alex W. Appreciate it. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything from. No. Okay. So now she's gonna explain how. Well, you'll see. It's an old feminist argument we haven't heard in a while.
This is all funny. Why is it always women should do this to combat men instead of men should do this so that we don't have to have these conversations? When I get...
So that's like the take home from this clip. Yeah. Don't teach women to avoid getting raped. Teach men not to rape. It's that. It's that.
Yeah, but the thing is that the men who, okay, the way that you teach men not to rape is don't rape them. Since that we don't give a crap about that, there are going to be men who are taught to rape by having been raped or neglected or physically abused. Usually it is actual sexually abuse. So, yeah, they're just going to be guys out there that are going to do that. So you can either protect yourself from them by not drinking to excess. I don't think dress really relates to rape. As far as I know, the studies don't find it. There's a correlation, but drinking to excess sure does, especially around strangers. Letting your guard completely down around strangers, that can lead to, sexual assault. So don't do that. That applies for men too. It applies to everyone. Okay. Mm-hmm. And saying, oh, well, I mean, it might work to say don't rape men if you say women don't rape too. Like, actually, I don't think that will work at all, because it is a cycle of abuse, and the people who have been abused, and it is a small amount of men and women, maybe a larger amount of women, who actually go on to enact the abuse that they've experienced. And so it's just tell men not to rape. Well, there are problems. I mean, there are real big problems with it. First of all, men as a group don't rape. They just don't. Individual men rape, just like individual women rape. Okay. And you can tell criminals not to do things, that's called making what they're doing a crime, but they still do it. Funny that. Like, I mean, how do feminists think their glee club activities, don't rape, the don't rape pom-poms, the don't rape whistle, the don't rape foam finger, you know, how do they think their glee club activities are going to do anything more than making rape a crime will do?
Well, you see, Allison, first of all, isn't it crazy that this woman has just done this thing where we were talking about discomfort in a social setting, which is what the video is. You know, sometimes you run into people who can be pushy or stubborn or whatever. And if you're going to navigate the social sphere, if you're going to be in the world and you're going to go out to things, you're going to run into people like this, like inevitably. Mm-hmm. So we just went from that to now talking about, you know, like what that men should be taught not to rape. This is like those two men in that video, even if they were being pushy, like somebody in the chat said that apparently there's a longer version of the videos where the girls try to leave and the men kind of like block them a little bit or whatever, but sort of like they basically just become more assertive. But I'm sure that everything ended up fine and those girls did not get raped by those guys. I'm willing to bet some money on that didn't happen. But it doesn't matter because we just went from, you know, here's a social interaction that went sideways because of whatever number of factors you have and that's why men need to be taught not to rape women. Do you see like how insane of a leap we just went to? This is the same logic. And the other thing is, going back to what you were saying, we don't live in heaven. We live on earth. And on earth, there are people who don't do everything the way that you want them to. The world is not the way you want it to. Women don't have any more of a right to like complete and absolute safety than anyone else. They just aren't entitled to that. That's not the way the world works. Sorry. You know, if you got bit by a crocodile, you can't go online and make a video saying crocodiles shouldn't be doing that.
Well, but yeah, you're right. Like
men are not crocodiles. Here. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that in the world, there are people and some of them are shitty. That's it. Like, good luck, you know, go like, take this. It's dangerous out there. Take this. Common sense. That's it. You can find a lot of happiness.
Escalation. There's an incredible escalation. She goes from having an awkward or looking at an awkward situation in public to tell men not to rape.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But that's not what happened here. What happened here is these women had an awkward situation with men in which they were laughing a little bit for some reason. Like somebody in the chat said it's because it's just a skit. They were laughing because it was a skit, and maybe so. Anyway, we got a lot to go through, so maybe go and.
No, I got one more time code in this, and that's
that. Well,
so
I mean,
I'm gonna.
When I watched it, I noticed there was almost no evidence to her thesis.
No, she has the one instance, and then she goes, now I'm gonna go on a whole tirade about how men don't take no for an answer, especially not from women. Therefore, I think the conclusion is other men have to do it or something. Other men have to, because like essentially she ends up appealing to other men, appealing to the patriarchy to stop the patriarchy. Please, patriarchy, rescue me from the patriarchy. So, okay, 1421 is the next bit. This is, right here. So.
Right now, Mom, you're a bitch. And people will still sit there and be like, we'll just say no. No means no. They'll get it. Well.
All I wanted was to go on a nice peaceful walk today, but yet again, here I am to complain about people not even being humans anymore. What are we doing? I'm walking towards this girl on the sidewalk, and God forbid we make eye contact or have any sort of human interaction on a how's it going kind of level. She's got the AirPods in, she's got the sunglasses on, she has her phone in landscape, folks. We have stooped to the level of having our phone in landscape. Like this? No. Please tell me you're not watching a movie just to avoid having some sort of human interaction.
I'm just pausing it there for a second. So I want to point out that what this guy is lamenting has nothing to do with women, but there's a woman in his anecdote. So he's saying there was a woman I saw, and God forbid we like acknowledge each other's existence and like, you know, say hello or make eye contact or not, because she's wearing sunglasses and she's got ear pods. So she's obviously like out, but like completely insulated from the world. Okay. And what he's lamenting is that, and I think that there's a lot of people who say it's not real. This is a normie take, but you know, like the whole, like, why don't we put our phones down and talk to each other, you know, like human beings? Like, why don't we have conversations? Why aren't we connecting? Right. Oh, the internet, whatever, phones. And I mean, like, I get it. I'm sympathetic to that position. But it has nothing to do with the fact that happens to be a woman. I don't think so. I mean, like, I don't get that from this guy at all. You know, I think he's more like, why aren't people talking to each other anymore?
Yeah.
That's his whole thing.
And in fact, I mean, this is sort of cut off. Why would he sort of came, the first couple of things that he said got me in the mind that he was concerned about actual safety in terms of people being aware of the surroundings. So it almost sounds like maybe this woman collided into him or almost.
No, well, he didn't say that. He just said that she didn't, like, he was basically out on a walk, and he probably, because like I said, you know, here in Virginia, if you go for a walk, you're going to come across other people walking, and they always like look at you, they smile at you, and they say hello or good morning or whatever. And maybe that's off-putting. Maybe you're just super introverted and awkward. But normal people, they do that.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Yeah.
And the thing is that she puts him in this video, and then she put him in the other video that I sent to you. And one of the things I wanted to point out is she's using this guy as an example of a man who's sexually entitled, but also an example of an extrovert who wants people to, you know, greet others in public. So she's using this example in two contradictory ways. So she must know that this is not really an example of a man feeling entitled to a woman romantically, but probably a man who just is tired of people being completely antisocial and maybe making our external world more and more distant and inhuman. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Like, and I think you picked up on that as well. So this isn't even an example of what she's talking about.
No, but she is, I assume, projecting or something, because she's assuming that because it's a man and he wants to be social, he desires social connection, that he must desire her body in some like objective way. You know,
but how would you then use this as an example of a non-sexual extroverts wanting introverts not to be so antisocial? Because she uses it in the other video on extroverts wanting introverts to be less antisocial. So she must know that this wasn't intended on a sexual level by him, just a social level of like a human being to another human being.
Yeah,
so
I don't know, Allison. I don't have the feminist mind virus. I don't see people like that.
I just want to point out that we have a 20-minute video on how horrible it is for men to approach women. And what we've got is one awkward interaction in which all four parties are laughing. And this, and what's the next horrible thing that she's showing? Like Shuanhead's video on how insane women are when they were rejected had on like reams of examples. This has one.
Yeah.
And it isn't even particular. Like, yes, I mean, it was awkward.
She yells at some of the comments that are defending or at least like trying to like say, well, here are some things, ladies, you can do, because like essentially the whole like victim blaming, which is kind of what this is all about when it comes to like, you know, addressing women. It's usually men trying to help women, like, oh, well, you know, I wouldn't want you to be like afraid, so here are some things you can do. you know, and of course they're like, you can't do that. I want to feel afraid. I just want men to behave a certain way. I want all men everywhere all the time to act a certain way so that I don't feel afraid. What is that? I don't know. It's completely arbitrary. Depends on how I feel that morning. But you better be ready for it when it happens.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, there's no point. Like, there's no point.
All right, so let's see her.
Guys, this needs to stop. Look around, get a little bit uncomfortable, and I don't know, say hi to a human that's 4 feet away from you.
I really had to include this TikTok in today's video because I could not believe the privilege oozing out of this idiot, dude. How privileged do you gotta be to think this random girl who you have walked past is not wanting to talk to you because she's antisocial? And there's something wrong with this generation because they're always on the phone.
He wasn't just talking about one person, right? Well, we don't know.
He was using it as an example of what he perceived as a trend. That's what I think he's doing. He's a man. He's identifying a pattern. He's like, I've seen this many times. I don't think this is good. And I tend to agree. Like, I think that if you're antisocial, and I know some people are not, like, he may not be saying that she is implying that he is implying that. So I don't know. But if somebody is saying, you know, maybe you should get out of your shell, I wouldn't be offended by that, because maybe you should. Like, maybe some people have something to offer you. Maybe you don't have it all figured out. Maybe you could use for like a little bit of like social training. Maybe it would stop you from becoming an absolute paranoid basket case that thinks that everyone who talks to you is trying to drag you off into their goon cave to have their way with you. Maybe you wouldn't be making videos online about how scary all the men are if you would talk to them like they were people and not treat them like a fucking, you know, sideshow, like a sideshow experiment that got loose. It's like running around in society. One of these men could be the fucking guy, you know? So, and she has said, I think it's in another video, she says that she has like social anxiety disorder or something. And I'm just like, dude, I just think that's an excuse. Just talk to people. Stop being a coward. You know, just get out there. Stop acting like everyone's trying to do something bad to you. You're not that important.
Yeah.
You know, sorry.
There aren't ninjas.
You know, a lot of that does come from a lot of that does come from an overly inflated sense of self. Like, oh my God, I'm so, like, feminism, it has narcissism wrapped into it. Like, I'm so important. That's why I'm such a victim.
Yeah.
You know? It's like the worst thing that can happen is that men don't give a shit. That's why they hate MGTOW so much. Because the MGTOW guys literally don't care. And they can't stand that because it means that they don't matter to them. So.
Yep. And this is actually really pathetic because if there was, I mean, in the past, you would have been able to find plenty of videos of men approaching women, women rejecting men. Because we did it a lot more, but now what she's found is one video and this, and then she's made some shit up about this video being just about women when he's just using that as an example of a trend. So,
yep. Albatross said social anxiety, and yet she's making a video on YouTube for thousands of people to see, hundreds of thousands, according to her subscribers. And what does that tell you? She does want to connect with people. She does, but she thinks that being like this kind of like scene fucking goth satanic witch character is how you stand out. It just tells me how actually uninteresting she probably is. I'm sorry, but the more you do to this, the less there is in here. I think it's just like you're just compensating. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being really judgmental. There's a little bit more to this clip, I think. Let me see. 1805. Yeah, a little bit more.
Like, that is a separate conversation for another time. But I hate to tell you this, buddy. You are the problem. Maybe you're not as bad as the guys that we've spoken about in today's video, but to feel so entitled to a conversation with this random guy.
Yeah, you feel entitled. Talking to people is entitlement. This is why men like lose their jobs in the workplace, by the way. They talk to their coworkers, the people who they have to share an office with for a third of their life. You know, you go to your job, you're there for 8 hours. You sleep for 8 hours and then you have like free time for 8 hours, maybe, right? So that's a third of your life around other people who you're not related to and you have to work with. So what do people do generally? They try to get along with them because you have to be around them all day. And if you're around paranoid schizos like this, they're going to get you fired. That's how this happens. Like Wyatt, this is the problem with like the workplace and men in the workplace. The people that are like this, absolute insane narcissists that think, oh, the man spoke to me. He wants to take me into his cave and have his way with me. Oh my God, so disgusting. I should get him fired.
Yeah. Yepers.
Yeah.
And it's sort of depressing. And this is pretty, like when I went through this the first time, I'm like, these are her examples. Like I think she has one more. Did you find it?
In this video?
Yeah. You could probably scan for it. It's not.
Is it this here?
Let me see. I have to get to the spot where I'm. Yeah, it might be.
All right. We want me to go back and play it?
Yeah.
All right. So POV rejected this guy. Okay.
Because he's a stranger. He's a strange man in public. But in some cases, a man can get so offended and go off his nut over being told no. And you know, even worse, it looks
sounded like your neighborhood was culturally enriched, but okay. Let's blame all men then. We don't know the context either. It could have been an argument. I don't know.
Somebody's having a humble brag there. I'm so not over being able to do anything as a girl without men coming up to you and then not leaving you alone. Like I was just trying to film my.
Well, of course, it's just like the women in the gym. It's the same thing. Look at all the attention I'm getting. What a burden this is.
She just has to wait.
To be that this girl was pretty much all by herself, which makes thinking about what you do in situations like this all the more tricky.
Where did we see the payoff of that setup of the girl all by herself? Did something actually happen?
It's just no. There's nothing else that happens. That's why it's not really a good example. It's just we just have to take. And we don't
know why that man was screaming.
Fact. Yeah, but I mean, like
a homeless dude.
It could have been, but again, even if all of these were real examples of actual men actually harassing women, you're still looking at like 2 out of like 3.5 billion men. You know?
Yeah, it's not very prevalent.
No. Like what are you trying to say? Like, what are you getting at? Because like the only thing I can conclude is what you're trying to say is you want to live in a world where that never happens. And that's just not an adult thing to do. It's not like you're a child. That's a child's way of looking at the world.
Well, it's the way of looking at the world where somebody else is responsible for your safety. Okay, so this is it for that one. When I first went through it, I was like, wow, those are some really thin examples. If this was a really common occurrence, you'd have to show a lot more extreme behavior to get something go viral. 2 men just approaching women and not going away immediately, that's it. It's like, this is the best you got. Okay.
Yep. All right, next one.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So this one is called TikTok is shaming people for wearing headphones in public. All right, I'll play this one from the beginning.
Being somebody who is kind of just like overwhelmed by the world around me, I like to wear headphones in public as I would prefer to not be approached. Maybe that is a bigger issue that I have going on within myself that I should focus on fixing. But is
if you genuinely have social anxiety, you should probably fix that. Okay? You can't really expect people to construct a world of no human interaction just because you have social anxiety. I mean, this is a bit different, but it's still that level of entitlement. Like the world has to serve me.
This seems like a recent phenomenon to me, and I have to
Yeah,
wonder why.
it's
Like,
because
I think that before, and I'm not saying that it's the fault of like headphones because that's stupid. But I mean, like when we didn't have them, people figured out a way to navigate the world. And
yeah.
they did it just fine. And they talked to each other or whatever. So, but what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say that I thought you were gonna go with the coof, and I was going to point out.
Maybe, but I guess so. I'm sure it did a number on some people.
Well, it did a number on women, like, or
Yeah,
young
it did.
girls. I don't know how old she is, so it's been about probably 5 years since the start of it. So probably she wasn't part of the cohort in which this happened, but girls in particular were hit hard by all of the behaviors in the lockdown, to the point where they've discovered that they are experiencing cortical thinning. What that means is that their brains are aged. Their brains are older than they should be. So that's a thing that happened as a result of the coof and the lockdowns, and it's probably going to impact their ability to socialize, because that's the parts of the brain that ended up thinning were related to that, and they may actually find socializing more stressful, and they'll have less flexibility to do it. Well, we'll see what happens, but it doesn't sound like it's a really good thing.
Well,
So
I think that the first thing that should happen is that people should confront that head on and try to figure out a way to overcome it instead of just like running away from it, because I think that's going to make it worse. So,
well, of course they need to do that.
yeah,
That's something, like, if you want a reasonable quality of living, then you need to overcome things that are affecting you in that way. But it's up to them, I suppose, and that's something well out of their control. And again, you're right, it's probably not necessarily that. In this particular case, it probably is the advent of all these distracting technologies.
well, it's like I guess, because I don't like blaming technology for stuff, because I think it's dumb, but it does give people looking for the excuse. It gives them the excuse.
Yeah.
They get to say, I'm going to do this to escape this thing that I eventually, like, when it comes to like, being around other people, like, that's kind of very few people can live without that. Very few people without that. So you got to figure out, you got to navigate that for your own sake, especially as you get older. It's going to become more necessary. So, just to be like, I don't want to deal with people, and it's like, yeah, but you're not growing. Like, how can you understand other people? How can you claim to be the more compassionate, sex or whatever, if you don't talk to anyone? I mean, obviously you're not, but I'm saying, like, at least you're playing at it. But anyway, so let's. It says, when my headphones are the only thing keeping me sane in public and someone starts talking to me, is the caption on this video of I think it's a girl, but let's keep going.
I don't really think it's such a big deal that people just don't want to talk to other.
Being a woman in a big city equals headphones in no music so that nobody bothers you, but you can still listen and make sure nobody is following you. So this is a paranoid woman who is also humble bragging about how absolutely irresistible she is, that she has to like be on guard because there are men everywhere, and not women, just men, because women don't do that, right?
I don't really think it's such a big deal that people just don't want to talk to other people that day. Like, oh my god, you guys act like it's this personal attack towards you, when in reality it's not even about you. I feel like wearing headphones in public is a clear indicator of, hey, not today. There are plenty of headphoneless individuals who are roaming this earth amongst you, the headphoneless wearing person as well, who is just so upset that people who are wearing headphones probably aren't in the mood to speak.
So I'm gonna need everyone to start popping out an earbud, turning off the noise canceling headphones when they're walking around, because a number of times I've tried to like connect with somebody on the sidewalk or on the train, and I'm literally just met with silence as if I'm talking to myself is one too many times.
Sorry, but when was it rude to wear headphones in public? Like, whenever I walk past...
Actually, I think, well, when they were new, it was kind of socially, it was kind of rude when they were new. But it's funny because so this isn't about men, this video, it's about people, extroverts and introverts. And she is basically, this is the new thing, guys. Extroverts are privileged and introverts are oppressed. This is the new thing. So introverts in the chat, you officially have oppression points now. And unfortunately, extroverts are privileged. So, but I'm guessing that a majority of our audience is introverted. So I'm just throwing it out there. But this is the new dynamic, the new thing. You know, you're basically a byproduct. You're downstream of the people who did not get vaccinated, wear masks, and socially distance versus the people who did all of those things. Wearing headphones was rude when the Walkman was new. Yes, it was. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, you were expected. It wasn't like socially enforced anywhere, but if you were with your friends and you had a Walkman on, it was common for you to take it off when you approached your friends or when you went to a restaurant or when you were placing an order or whatever. And so, yeah, I think there was a time where that would have been a social faux pas. It has become slightly acceptable since AirPods have passed through. Yeah, I'll pass. Not interested in participating in the Oppression Olympics. But you might win. In fact, I rebel at this putting on not recommend. Sudden Booth. Okay. Booch. Yep, I don't like it too. If you're at a social gathering, then yeah, it's rude. Well, I mean, the only place where I wear headphones, I have those ear hook ones that I wear. I only wear them at the gym when I'm doing my when I go to the gym. And Lindsay has her own, and we just lock in and go, and that's it. We're there for like 45 minutes, and we listen to music the whole time, and then we take them off. I don't wear them any other time. I think once I had to run some errands, and I was driving around, and I wore them, but generally I don't because I don't know. I just can't. I can't really do that much. So when I'm on the trolley, Metal Wolf says, when I'm on the trolley, the vast majority of people are looking at their phones. Yeah, no, for sure. More than ever. Like when MP3 players were big, you guys remember those iPods? And the Android, that was an Android one, but there was another MP3 player. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was like the iPod competitor. There was still not that many people using them. It was like the portable CD players and stuff. That's how old I am. But nowadays, like everyone's got, AirPods. I don't even use them. I have a pair, but I barely use them. Only when I go to the gym. Humans are meant to be both extroverted and introverted depending on the situation, but this has been disrupted, so people tend to now be one or the other. Well, it's all ultimately a choice. The Zune, that's it, the Zune and the Rio. I remember that. I had a Zune because I remember when the iPod was new. I had a friend who was like big into like tech stuff, and I was like, I kind of want an iPod, but I don't really like Apple. And he's like, no, don't get it because Apple's like everything. It's like a walled garden. Like you have to get all of their shit. But the Zune, you could just move MP3s over. You don't have to have Apple Music or whatever. I'm sure that that's changed now that everyone's got Spotify. That's how fast, by the way, the MP3 thing died because now everyone has Spotify. I mean, I still get MP3s. I even have a big old thing of CDs still. Because you should always have your physical media. You don't know when like the streaming stuff and all the licensing is going to be gone. So that's what I think anyway. All right. I'll see you back. I'm waiting for you to come back. That's why I'm stalling. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to play more of the video.
I can hear everything. I just,
right.
I'm attending to cat-related duties.
All right.
Okay.
Somebody and they're wearing headphones, bumping whatever it is in their ears. I am not thinking, oh my God, I cannot believe that this person just missed out on the opportunity to speak to me. I'm walking past that person, not entitled to their time because I don't fucking know them.
The other day,
This how it feels like when I stare at Screechy.
I don't know. It's not quite the same like octave, but the thing is, yeah, you don't know them, but that's the thing though. You don't know who you might meet. And I know it sounds really corny, but like yesterday was Sunday. Yesterday I had to drive from Roanoke, Virginia to Greensboro, North Carolina to pick up a new car that I got yesterday. And because the old car was on its last legs and we were just pouring too much money into it to make it sustainable. So we're like, okay, we're gonna get a new one. And we went to Carvana and we got a car on Carvana, and it's a 2019 Toyota Corolla. It's awesome. But I needed to drive down there to pick it up. And this guy, like my Uber, was this old, like, really old white dude, like in his 70s. And he was driving a van and he drove me down to Greensboro. Now, I could have just popped in my headphones and just like listened to like my music all the way there for 2 hours. But I was like, no, I never do this. I never do that. If I get into an Uber, I always make small talk with the driver. I mean, he's taking me somewhere, and yes, I'm paying him, but like, it's still his time. And I figure, if they don't want to socialize, I won't. But like, if they're open to it, I will. And we ended up chatting the whole way. And I learned, we had a really good conversation. He asked me what I do. I told him. It turned into a conversation about men's issues. And we talked about veterans. And we talked because he was like, his sons are in the military and all of that. So it was, and I think his name was John or something. I can't remember. No, it wasn't. It was Charlie, the guy who worked at the Carvana, who I also had a little chat with. His name was John. And it was a good little chat. And I may never see them again. But the thing is, you get something out of that. You don't know if you're going to get something out of that. So I'm not saying that you have to talk to everybody you run into. But to act like anyone who wants to say hello is somehow imposing on you, and then you're claiming that they're the ones with privilege, like that's just shitty. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah. So, okay. What's the next time code?
All right, well, I got a super chow from Richard Bier. He gave us $5. Yeah, super chow, and he says, a thing about the headphones in public is that they can and do block out sounds that perhaps you should be paying attention to for the sake of safety. I saw a short while ago from Mr. Ballin Shorts, and he showed this clip from the 1980s where this particular woman was so wrapped up in her own headspace that she wasn't registering important details around her as she was walking across railroad tracks. The crossing gates were down, and it was described that the ground was vibrating from the approach of the train. She still bounced off the locomotive. The person she was walking with did stop himself, but he did not stop her.
Oh, well, he did not stop her, huh?
Well, he probably didn't have time.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the trains are faster than you think, like.
Yeah, true. Okay. Yeah. Well, I do actually have some thank yous to give in terms of our support. Thank you to Richard Bier for 1,000 smackaroonies, and thank you to the Great Indoors for 500. So that's very much appreciated.
My things aren't playing. All right, hold on. Let me open up. For some reason, my soundboard is not working, and I want to make sure I can figure out.
You want to thank these dudes properly.
Yeah, like why aren't they? What's going on with my soundboard? Well, I may have to, like, the ones I uploaded are not working, so maybe what I got to do is just pick a sound, I guess. So thank you. Okay.
Aw.
A rim shot. I know.
Yeah, that's cute. Aw, rip Brian's soundboard. Okay,
I'll have to re-upload everything, I guess. That sucks.
Oh, did you get your new computer?
It's coming tomorrow.
Yay!
It's coming
That's
tomorrow.
pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna take me a little while to set it up, so I probably won't be able to use it until after the weekend, maybe, because I have to move all of the
Fair
shit
enough.
over and get it all set up and download a bunch of shit. So, but we'll see. Hopefully it will be a painless process. But they did all the testing and everything. It's supposed to arrive tomorrow. So.
Okay. All right. So thank you to the Great Indoors and thank you to Richard Beer. And let's complete this.
Okay. Next.
Talking to this girl, and she was wearing a sweatshirt with a sorority I was associated with, and I was like, oh my god, girl, try till I die, baby. Ignored me. I tried one more time. I was like, nope, nothing.
Clearly those people that you have tried to strike up a conversation with aren't really that interested in it. Sure, it sucks.
I'm trying to figure out what's happening with her eyebrows.
They're painted on, like, her whole face.
What the hell does she look like underneath that?
I don't know. Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Tim Curry?
Yeah, Tim Curry, like without makeup.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, like, so again, it's weird that like she's saying that this woman, this girl in the video, she basically saw that some other woman had like a shirt of a band or something that she liked. And she wanted to like
no, it was a sorority. It was even more than
a sorority. It was a sorority. Well, that's even bigger, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bigger and it's also weirder because that is literally a group you belong to in order to network. Why the hell would you wear that in public and then ignore somebody from that sorority? Like,
yeah,
that makes zero sense.
That is very strange. That is very strange. All right.
Like, I don't know what the hell's happening to people. I know I'm antisocial. Like, I feel bad about that because, like random interaction terrify me. But I think I can handle this a bit better than that. Just crack a joke and move on. Or, if you have such a strong like you have the same damn sorority, why would you even be afraid of talking to a person from the same sorority? Got lots of things. Like I'm always like, oh wait, what do I talk about? Like I'm such a weirdo. What are the safe and acceptable topics? Okay, dogs, weather, potholes, and it's like it. But you right off the bat, you have the ability to talk about your sorority and the place you went to school and your the network and stuff like that. So it just seems strange to me.
Yep. Okay. I think that's it for that clip. So let's jump ahead.
That is socializing and connecting with one another, but you also cannot really be all that upset if somebody doesn't want to reciprocate that with you. I'm sorry, is this controversial of me to say, but I'm not gonna want to chat to you if you believe that you're entitled to my time when you just aren't. There could
entitled to my time. So now if you approach someone and say hello to them, you are saying that you are entitled to their time. I wonder if this woman has any friends. And I wonder how hard it is to be friends with a woman like this.
I wonder if people are not noticing that this is like feminism has led to a complete destruction of every human relationship on the planet.
Yeah. Yes. An absolute breakdown in social trust. Complete and utter breakdown.
And antisocial. Like in my town, we wave at each other commonly. And then, going up into talking to somebody is actually a commonplace occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and it's something that happens all the time. I guess that would just flip, like people in the city would just flip out if that happened. Yep. I noticed that in New York, you do not make eye contact in New York.
Yeah, it's cities like that. There's just too many people. Like Chicago was like that too. Like there's just too many people. Like you can't give people the appropriate amount of time and attention. Everyone's moving so fast It's one of the problems of the city, and I've always had that issue. That's why when I mentioned that I people are really nice to me, it's because I'm here where there's fewer people. Like you're actually more likely to run into the same people randomly. In Chicago, that's very unlikely unless you're like going to the same places where the same people are,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, New York, Chicago, LA, like no one's got time for anybody else. Even Calgary is like that. Even like cities that are not quite as big,
Yeah. Speaking of Calgary, I might as well tell you guys we're going to be doing another meetup this year in Calgary. It's looking somewhere late August, early September. I'll keep you guys posted. Actually, it's looking like September 13th might be the thing to aim for, but I'll keep you all posted about the meetup. It went fairly well last year, and I think this year what I'm going to do is I will apply the effort towards maybe getting like a conference room and doing a small little meetup where we have some presentations. Maybe I'll talk about my new threat narrative series that I'm working on and give you some behind the scenes information. So if you're able to come, start, thinking about it, because I think we really need to start bringing back these in-person meetups to start rebuilding the public face of the community, especially in lieu of how antisocial everyone's becoming and increasingly so isolated. So anyway, yeah, just keep it in mind. And if you do want to come,
I should be able to drive out there now. I have a car that can
oh,
make the
awesome.
trip. Yeah, my new car only has 65,000 miles on it, a little bit less.
You gonna take Jojo again?
I may have to. Yeah, if we do, we'll have to bring him again. We'll just make sure that he stays in a place where he's not going to run off into the woods and chase deer. So
yeah, we'll be staying in a hotel this time. I'm not going to go off in the middle of the boondocks. I'm done with that. No, it's just going to be we're going to go to a hotel. We're going to have a conference room. We may have it like we might have meals and like sandwiches. An assortment, something like that. Something a little bit more urban. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah. So keep abreast of this if you're listening, and if you're interested, you can send me a note at badger@feedthebadger.com and tell me if you want to come and attend it. Make sure that there's something special there. Plus merch. I can actually take merch because I'm not going across country line, a border. So anyway, yeah, badger@feedthebadger.com if you're interested. Drop me a line. I'll keep you abreast of the things. All right. So
okay, let me look at my time codes here. There's a little bit more to this, so let's listen to some more.
Be a plethora of reasons as to why Sweatshirt Girl didn't want to interact with you that day, and that is okay. Maybe is it rude to not gesture back with a smile and just be a little bit polite, regardless of how you're feeling, because sometimes not everything is about us. I mean, okay. But I think that a lot of people tend to forget that socially anxious people exist and mental health resources are largely underfunded and understaffed at that. So you have a bunch of people who are trying to take measures in helping.
So people would be more receptive to hello if we spent more taxpayer dollars on mental health services. Let's just socialize it more, and then you'll get your hello, you entitled prick.
Themselves feel comfortable in a world that is completely uncomfortable and that doesn't make them feel comfortable. And still, we're met with frustration because we didn't want to talk to you. Sometimes I genuinely think when somebody is trying to compliment me out in public.
A note that hurt something inside me. Oh, good Lord. I don't want to hear about anybody complaining about my voice ever again. I swear to God, if you guys, if any of you complainers, you audio files that have complained about how squeaky, I'm going to play this woman. I'm just going to play that note she hit over and over again.
No.
Oh, good Lord. No. No.
No, I'm good. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ones who say that I'm a freaking squirrel to listen to. Oh.
That pause face is satanic. All right, let's keep going.
that they're secretly making fun of me. Now, that's a me problem. That is an issue that I have got to deal with. That's not on anybody else, obviously. But essentially what I'm trying to say, and what it boils down to, is that you have absolutely no idea what a person could be going through to cause them to be wearing headphones in the first place and not want to speak to anybody, period. There have been times where I have been so anxious. I have unfortunately ignored people when they have tried to strike up conversation with me. At the time, I was dealing with so many personal things, and I was bordering along the lines of agoraphobia as it was. Like, obviously I don't deal with that, and I'm not going to take that on because I wasn't ever diagnosed with it. But it got to a point in my life where even if I stepped foot a couple minutes outside of my house, just down to the shops, that's it, just going to get some bread, I felt like I was on the verge of a panic attack. Now, you can call me weak.
Yeah, that's a you problem, all right. I don't know why you're telling us that. Why then do you feel qualified to give advice on how other people engage in social interactions when you can't take it that people exist in the world with you? And why and how is it possible that you make comfort your highest good? How do we get there?
Well, what's bothering me is why she wants to bring this down to the lowest common denominator. Now, I genuinely had agoraphobia. No, and it was an atypical agoraphobia. I won't go into it. But I wouldn't, even at the depths of my agoraphobia, I never thought the world should accommodate me and to make the social fabric contingent upon my comfort. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely get the mental health you need to overcome it. I'm sorry that mental health is so expensive, but really, there's a lot that you can find for free in terms of coping mechanisms and strategies and how to overcome the issues that you're facing. But no, the world should not change to suit you. Like it shouldn't change. It shouldn't go to the lowest common denominator, the most damaged person socially, because people shouldn't say hello because someone out there might have social phobia. And what, are you freaking mental? That is pathological. That is pathological empathy. The public world is a balancing of people's needs, and you can't destroy social behavior because some people are agoraphobic. It's insane.
Yep. Well, yeah, it's the lowest common denominator, like you said. I got a Rumble rant. I forgot to read. Let me see where it is. It was by a Nova fan, and he gave us $1 and said, "I'm reminded of that article that claimed people used to be social before cell phones and acted like nobody ever used a newspaper as a way to avoid conversation. It was funny." Well, yeah, but again, not everyone used a newspaper. Most people just sort of talk to each other. But now that people have the means to really escape, and yeah, maybe the coof did something to some people, especially women. I think that it's become the new shield, though. This is what it's about. It's like, if it was already hard enough for people to talk to each other because of the general fear of the other that feminism put in everybody, especially women, but also in men, because men were afraid to approach women because they were not afraid of rejection, but they were afraid that people were going to call the cops on them or who knows what, right? Or get other men to do something about it if they didn't come across the right way. But women were also just afraid of men in a really irrational way. And then you take that and then you separate them further by giving them the means to which they can escape each other. And what happens is they don't actually interact with anyone, but they do constantly consume content that tells them to stay afraid. And you do that for a few years, and then you lock everybody down, and then you separate them, and you mask everybody, and then you put them back out in the world and say, okay, play nice, find somebody, and no one can do it, or at least very few people. and I think it affected women more.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're paranoid now. They're just paranoid, and that's what I'm seeing. So, anyway,
yeah.
You can call me whatever, but I had a lot of issues at that point in my life. So
I think you still do. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I suspect, yes.
I suspect, yes.
Forgive me if I wore headphones and I didn't want to speak to anybody. I also didn't want to embarrass myself with a panic attack where people around me would have probably started filming, posting it on TikTok. Oh my God, this girl is freaking out in the middle of Woolworths. But something that I think that these kinds of
Okay. Let me get to the next time code. The last time code. Okay.
Oh, so you were feeling socially awkward, and yet there is absolutely no sympathy for men who are socially awkward and approach women.
Yes.
In public.
Yes, because they should know better.
Yeah, I guess.
Because men are men, and men are strong all the time. Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
Very act that is not getting you anywhere. There is no real success in that. It's just a huge lack of self-awareness, in my opinion, because I couldn't imagine getting up onto TikTok in front of millions of people and yapping on about how people won't talk to me because they're wearing headphones. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not entitled to anybody's time. Nobody is entitled to my time. That's just how it is. And these kinds of people just reek of having everything given to them in life. Everyone constantly saying yes to them, but, you know, hear or no, you know, somebody doesn't want to do something for them. And suddenly it's, oh my God, headphones are the problem. No, you're the problem. Can a girl not go non-verbal for a 40-minute train ride where...
Okay, she's ranting about people talking to her. Let me find the because he goes back to the guy. Yeah, this guy. So we're gonna go to this clip.
Can you hear
talk that day? And on
What?
Okay, so I just had a little bit of a technical difficulties. So I found this astounding because she's saying that people are not entitled to another human being in a public space to come up to them and say hello or even start a conversation. And yet I'm pretty sure she would say that she is entitled to social programs paid by taxpayers. Like what it's an interesting set of entitlements. So people are entitled to others' money and labor.
Well, yeah, the claim that like mental
hi.
health services are underfunded
Yeah,
and she lives in like
exactly.
a socialist hellhole implies that there should be people paying for your mental health services, but you're not, that they should not feel entitled to say hello to you in public.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting how she feels entitled for other people to pay for services that she needs, but she thinks that somebody going up to another person and asking for 15 seconds of their time to say hi is entitlement. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to construct a society in which people care enough about each other to pay for each other's well-being willingly? If you'd have absolute,
I don't think people like this should be building anything. I think they should just be getting out of the way.
Well, she's built a gigantic YouTube channel. She has plenty of clout and influence.
Yep. All right, let's listen to the last bit here.
Honestly, I don't really see anything wrong in that.
All I wanted was to go on a nice peaceful walk today, but yet again, here I am to complain about people not even being humans anymore. What are we doing? I'm walking towards this girl on the sidewalk.
She uses this example as well?
She uses this example again, yes, but she's got a different. She's gonna make, she's got something.
Yeah, she's gonna she's gonna make it an opposite point, recognizing in this video exactly what his intent was. His intent wasn't striking up a romantic relationship; it was just platonic, social niceties.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid we make eye contact or have any sort of human interaction on a how's it going kind of level.
What's interesting to me is how he's already starting off this TikTok with, all I wanted was to go on a peaceful walk, and assumes that other people besides him aren't trying to do the same thing too. Peaceful means no conversations, no interruptions, no distractions, just straight up peace.
Actually, could conversations be peaceful? Apparently, she doesn't think so, which again begs the question, do you want to have a conversation with someone who thinks that conversations are not peaceful?
Yeah, it's
Like-
just so funny. Like, she thinks that people owe her money, but she should not be expected to say hello. It's an interesting series of entitlements, but yeah, I know, I get what you're saying too. Conversations can be peaceful.
No, well, yeah, that's why they're conversations and not arguments. Like, it's not like he's not going on a walk looking to debate people. he like that. Anyway, but she actually explicitly states that this guy is not looking for peace.
Just straight up peace. But clearly, just like the first TikToker we touched on, he doesn't get it as well.
She's got the AirPods in, she's got the sunglasses on, she has her phone in landscape, folks. We have stooped to the level of having our phone in landscape like this? No.
Saying you wanted to go for a nice peaceful walk, then proceed to pick apart the way people choose to go about their nice peaceful walk doesn't sound very peaceful. It's actually really interesting, because shouldn't you be one with the grass right now, bro?
Please tell me you're not watching a movie just to avoid having some sort of human interaction.
Universe forbid a woman is trying to go about her peace that she is trying to create, just like you.
Isn't she like making antagonism where none exists too?
No.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
this guy was just making an observation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the woman that he saw probably forgot that interaction even took place.
Yeah.
And
She
this
probably
woman
doesn't
is
even
turning
remember.
it into a thing. She's
If
like,
there
this
was
is
an
a thing.
interaction, or just like noticing that a woman is, or sorry, a person, not even a woman, just a person is out in nature looking at a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would observe that. It's like, you're out in nature, get off the screen, enjoy your walk. And I think that the idea that she's watching a movie is incidental. I think the assumption here is that she's not enjoying her walk. It's not a peaceful walk because she's watching a movie to avoid having any kind of interaction with another human being. So that really begs the question, why don't you just sit your ass at home or get like a treadmill?
I got a super chow, and then I want to
Yeah.
point out something that I just realized would be really hilarious. But Richard Bier gave us $5 and said, super chow, and he says, it was said that when the telephone first came out, it enabled neighbors to talk to each other without having to get dressed up to visit them in person.
Mhm.
Then when air conditioning became commonplace, the screened-in porches became less common because people would spend less time on the porches socializing. Thank you for that, Richard. Yes, it's true. It's almost like we found new ways to do the stuff we wanted to do, which is socialize. And then Gabriel said, guy streaking with his 2-foot weenie out. And I realized we can't tell, but it wouldn't be funny if that guy was just walking around naked. And he was like, why is everybody doesn't want to talk to me? Like, because he's clearly not wearing a shirt. I just think that would be funny. Like, camera pulls back, big dick swinging. I don't get it. Like, I'm just saying hello.
Oh, good grief.
What's wrong with you people?
Oh God,
Take the sunglasses off.
that would be a good payoff for the setup.
That would be a nice punchline.
Well, maybe maybe with
sketch.
a censor bar so that we don't get
A big black
yeeted
censor
off
bar, like a
YouTube.
big, but anyway, so yeah, I guess there's a little bit more to this.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing wrong in watching a movie on a walk with your phone landscaped. Like, admittedly, she should
there's
be a
lot
little bit
wrong
more
with that. There's a lot
it's-
wrong with that.
It is weird. Like, why? Yeah. Well,
why are you like when you go on a walk, you go on a walk to look at your surroundings and enjoy the smells and the sights of nature, not to watch a movie. And the point is that I think the point he's making is that she's avoiding connecting to nature because she's so afraid she might have to have an interaction with another human being, that she's doing something so people won't like she'll look completely unapproachable. And that's a good point. Like, if you're so afraid of social interaction that you deny yourself basic things like actually experiencing nature, maybe there's a problem. That's what I got off of him. He's so entitled. He's got the dictitlement. The patriarchal dictitlement.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Richard Beer gives another super chow for 5 and says, I wonder what would happen if Drama Queen were to be sprinkled with holy water. There'd probably be screams and stuff. You know, I needed an old priest and a young priest. Okay. So let me just see here. I think that is almost the end of this clip. Oh yeah, no, that is the end of the clip. Yeah, that's the end of that clip.
All right. So is that I mean, this is pretty low key for us.
Yeah, I mean it's bedroom feminism, like the young adult years, the spin-off series. It's like this is like the facts of life of bedroom feminism, if bedroom feminism was different strokes. That's a really
okay. So
nerdy old reference.
I have an additional thank you to give.
Okay.
Spiky Helmet Badger gives us 1K. So thank you, Spiky Helmet Badger.
Thank you. I'm grabbing random sounds from that I'm able to use.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll go with the random sounds.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's the last time code, like.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't deep.
I didn't blow a gasket in this one.
No. It's not that deep.
Sort of dumb. It's really dumb that somebody like this would be feel entitled to other people's money, but if somebody wants her to say hi, that's just too much.
This is exactly the level of content.
What if your boss wants you to say hi?
776,000 subscribers. This is the level. This is what gets that.
Well, you know, we're sort of pushing a boulder uphill. What can I say? But anyway, thank you to Richard Beer, and thank you to Spiky Helmet Badger, and thank you to The Great Indoors for helping us out this month. Looks like I'm put the bonus level round on. Also thank you to Machine. I think it's Machine 123. Actually, let me just double check that. I want to make sure I did it right. Machine. I won't do the whole thing. It's leet speak. But thank you to Machine as well for $1,000 earlier.
Thank you.
Yesterday. Yeah, so we're pretty much done the main part of the fundraiser. I'll put the bonus goal since we're pretty far from the end of the month. And hopefully we'll get that as well. And and then maybe if we get this done really quick, I'll start up a fundraiser for our meetup in Calgary to cover the costs there. Anyway, if you're interested,
you won't have to rent me a car. I'll just need gas and hotel.
Oh, that's cool. Are you sure though? I mean, do you really want to put that many miles on your new car?
It's not. I mean, the reason why we got it was partly so that I could drive to Chicago and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you.
Yeah, because we drive locally. Like my old car could still do that, even though it's at like 250,000 miles. By the way, I forgot to mention, you know how we all name our cars. My new car, I have named it Israel, and I expect to be paid and supported whenever I need it.
Are you going to start fights?
No, I'm not going to start any fights. But if people pick on me, I know why. I get it. You know, but Israel's always getting messed with. So if anybody does, I expect compensation. So please support Israel by giving me money so I can keep my car repaired. I've officially named it. But anyway,
that is definitely geopolitical. Maybe it's
No, it's my car. The Geo is a car that nobody buys anymore, so it's not that. It's a Toyota. It's not a Geo.
That threw me for a loop. Okay. All right. So getting back onto the things, if you at any point after the show is over, this you can send a message to us, and you can comment on anything that we've said, and we will get back to you in the next show that we do that's related, usually just with the same people on it. And that's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. If you want to support the show like our very generous supporters have done, feedthebadger.com/support. If you're interested in the meetup, then either join us on badgernation.online and take part in the planning, which is in the low bar, or you can send me an email at badger@feedthebadger.com. So those are the things you can do. I don't know if the email address is in the low bar. I don't think it is. So you're going to have to write that down. It's badger@feedthebadger.com. And very much appreciated if you sort of RSVP your interest. It's going to be around, it's looking like mid-September in Calgary. So if that sounds to be of interest to you, then just send me a line. And yeah, okay, I'll hand it back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. And please, please, please share this video, because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, and we will talk to you guys in the next cringe.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.